YouTube Live, and today I am here to show you how I made a card with the beautifully celebrated stamp set bundle from Stampin' Up's new mini catalog. So this is actually part of a suite of products called Lovely and Beautiful. And I used actually both of the stamp set bundles from I gotta wiggle my phone down here a little bit. I used both of the bundles from the product suite, as well as an additional stamp set and an additional die set, because, you know, there's just too many goodies to just use a few. So, hey, Sally, thanks for hopping in. Glad that you are joining today. This is actually going to be a quick and easy little fun fold card, technically. But, you know, like I said, fun folds, if they're not easy, I don't make them. And this one's super easy. It's a little gatefold card. So, hey, Amy and Tanya and Karen and Pam, thanks for joining. So it's got a little belly band that slides off of it, and then open it up to the inside of the card. So again, super quick and easy. It's basically just a standard card that's got a little extra decoration and a little belly band on it to hold it closed. So again, super quick and easy. I don't make anything that's not. So I know, can you believe it, Karen? So, hey, Marilyn and Carol and Karen, thanks for joining. All right. So again, that's the card we're going to be making today. It was sort of inspired by one that I saw in the catalog, in the new mini catalog, but I kind of went totally a different direction with it. I started out, I'm like, oh, that's really pretty. I'm going to make that card. And then it turned into a fun fold, which then turned into something else. And anyway, so, but that's where the idea came from. So, all right. So hey, Terry, thanks for joining. This is the beautifully celebrated stamp set bundle. So again, stamp set first. The only thing that I really used out of this was the little leaf. I think that's all I used out of it. And then it's got a coordinating die set called Beautifully Celebrated. Now I did use a couple of the dies to die cut. I don't know if you noticed it on here on the little belly band. It's cut twice. So I don't know how well that shows up on the screen. So I cut it with the third largest and third from smallest and second from smallest of these little label dies from the Beautifully Celebrated dies set. So it actually is two pieces in there. Again, I don't know how well it shows up on the screen, but I can definitely see it here in my hand. And you can see it when I take the picture of it tomorrow too. So, all right. So again, that's technically the main stamp set that I used, although mostly it was the dies on that one. And then I also used which is also part of that same suite of products. So, hey, thanks for hopping in. Hopefully my video's okay, because all of a sudden it froze for a second on my screen. Looks like I'm back again. So, all right. Simply Beautiful is the name of this stamp set bundle. And again, it's part of the same suite. You can buy all the pieces individually, or you can buy it as the suite. And of course, I just bought the suite because, you know, I wanted it all anyway. So again, the image that I used out of this one is that little floral image. And then there's a coordinating die here as well. This is also a great die set. It's sort of, you can use it for layering up. So you can layer these together and a flower center, these together and a flower center. There are some leaves you can do. There are leaves you can stamp and die cut. Flowers you can stamp and die cut. So it is a great, a really nice floral bundle. Again, Simply Beautiful is the name of this one. So set those aside. And then the final stamp set that I used is called Lovely Arrangements, because I guess I just couldn't not help. I could not use it. And actually the only thing I used out of this one is the little happy birthday sentiment, because I'm kind of short on birthday cards right now. So I really need to get some more made and get a pile of them made and keep them in my stash here. So again, Lovely Arrangements is the name of this one. In the US, I do know that this stamp set is currently on back order, but it's looking like it should be back, I think end of January is when this one's supposed to be coming back in stock. Hopefully it'll be sooner. The stamp sets sometimes come in stock a little bit faster. So again, Lovely Arrangements. This one is an online exclusive item. The other two are from the current mini catalog. So hey, Daryl and Drew, thanks for joining. And then the final die set that I used on this one is the Stylish Shapes dies. And if you don't have this die set, you just really need to get it. So I did use this little banner die for cutting the sentiment out. But again, Stylish Shapes, this is a great just general die set that everybody should have. Okay, a couple things before we get going. Double reward points ordering bonus going on right now from me with any order of $50 or greater that you purchase between now and January. Yes, it is January. So I almost said December, and I'm like, no, we're not in December anymore. So between now and January 12th, you're going to get double reward points from me. Normally, my reward points, that's my customer rewards, customer thank you. bonus program that I have. So normally for every $50 in product that you order from me, you get 1 reward point. Right now, for every $50 that you order, you're getting 2 points. And then once you collect 8 points, you get a free $40 order of your choice from me. So a nice little ordering bonus to kick off the new catalog and new online exclusive ordering. And then Stampin' Up! Has also got a nice little bonus going on right now. They have their bonus days coupon earning period going on. So January 6th to February 2nd, for every $50 that you spend in Stampin' Up! Merchandise, you're going to earn a $5 off coupon that you can redeem from February 3rd to the 28th. So you can collect as many of those coupons as you want to during the earning time period, and then redeem them all at once or on several different orders, however you want to do it, in February. The Fabulous Sayings is the product of the month from Stampin' Up! This month. So for January, it's a cute little stamp set. And actually, excuse me, hold on. I'm not sure why I'm coughing all of a sudden. Actually, it's a great little stamp set, and I just got mine yesterday. Hang on, I'm going to grab a drink. Goodness. Apparently I'm yakking too much. Maybe I should just get going on the card. All right. Fabulous Sayings. So this is actually available for anyone who orders $75 or greater. You can add on this stamp set for an additional $5 to any order of $75 or greater. So if you have questions about that or how it works, just let me know. And then finally, there are some new online exclusives and bunches of them that are still there from previous releases out in the online store. Make sure you're always taking a look at those anytime that you are placing a Stampin' Up! Order because they kind of come and go. They're not tied to any catalog, so you don't want to miss out on any of the new goodies. To find those, you can go out to StampinUp.com and then click on the menu button and then go to online exclusives, and you'll see all of the products available to order now. All right. So let's get going on the card. Okay, card base on this one is very easy. This is Old Olive, and it is cut to 8.5 by 5.5, and it is scored at 2 1/8 and 6 3/8. So again, 2 1/8 inches and 6 3/8 inches. That is where your two score lines are on here. And then I've got a couple of pieces of the Lovely and Beautiful Designer Series paper. It's actually got foil on the back of it, and we're going to use the flip side for the belly band on this one. So I've got this Designer Series paper is cut to 1 3/4 inches by 5 1/8 inches. And again, all the measurements for this stuff are going to be out on my blog tomorrow. And I'll have my printable PDF tutorial out there, so no need to worry about the 1/8 inches and 1/4 inches and all that stuff that I'm giving you right now. All right, so we got two little pieces of Designer Series paper that measure the same thing, and then we're going to adhere those to Old Olive pieces of cardstock. And you don't have to layer it on the Old Olive cardstock. I just like to have lots of layers on my cards, so I went ahead and put it on there. If you don't love that look, you can just make these 1 7/8 by 5 1/4, and then it would give you the same effect without the layer underneath it. So, again, 1 7/8 by 5 1/4 is the measurement of the Old Olive cardstock that I stuck this to. 1 3/4 by 5 1/8 is the measurement for the Designer Series paper. So we're just going to stick the two of these together, and then we will put them on the right and left side of the card front. And with this design, it does not really matter at all when you're putting your gatefold card together where, which side you put these on. I don't know, technically, if you wanted it to kind of look like a cohesive thing, you could figure out how they went together, but nobody's going to notice under your belly band, I promise. So you can go ahead and just stick these on here however you might like. And don't worry about putting them right side up, upside down, because this pattern, thankfully, doesn't really have a right side up or upside down. But if your pattern did, you would definitely want to pay attention to that as you adhere these pieces to the card front. So this is actually going to be the left-hand side of my card, and this will be the right-hand side of my card. So we're just going to go over here, and we will stick this on the flip side of it. And I'm just lining it up. I don't know how well the score lines show up on the screen, but I'm just lining the cardstock up. My score line is here, so I'm lining it up and centering it between the edge and the score line and the top and the bottom of the card front. So again, just kind of wiggling that in here like that. And I did get asked today why I put my cards together flat and then fold them kind of last. This one I'm going to do a little differently just because of the type of card that it is. But I do mine flat because I find it so much easier to handle and decorate a card front when I haven't scored it and it's not popping up and moving around all over and I'm trying to hold the card front down and flat and whatever. So normally I just put my card fronts together with my card base flat and then fold it at the very end. And the person was just blown away and couldn't figure out how in the world I did that. But I don't know. In my head, it works easier that way. All right. So inside of the card, this is a piece of basic white cardstock that is cut to about 4 inches by 5 1/4. So it's just your standard inside of the card base thing. I want to make sure I get this lined up along the edge here. It's a little easier to see when it's not on top of the white cardstock. All right, so just sticking that on. This is about a 1/2 inch wide by about 4 1/4 long, but it's whatever kind of piece of paper you've got left over here. This was just a little piece from trimming the card front. Then we're going to take that and we're going to adhere it to the inside of the card. So, hey, Danette, thanks for hopping in, and Debbie as well, and Karen. See a few more people have hopped in here since I looked up last. All right, so I'm going to take this, get the gunk off the card base there, and I'm just going to center it between the 2 score lines, and again, center it top to bottom. And that's the inside of the card. So it's super quick and simple. If you wanted to stamp a sentiment or something in there, you certainly could. I didn't on mine, but that doesn't mean you can't on yours. All right, now I'm going to fold it at the score lines, and going to give it a quick crease here with a bone folder. Fold over here at the other score line. Also give that a quick crease of the bone folder, and I'm going to flip it over and crease it again on the back side. Make sure we have a good solid crease on it. All right, so see what I mean about the card front flopping up and down? I have a hard time decorating things when it's moving all over like that. So that's why I just have mine flat when I decorate. So, all right. On with the show. Okay, I have got another piece. Again, it's that same piece of card or of Designer Series paper from the Lovely and Beautiful Specialty Designer Series paper pack. Same design, only I use the flip side for the outside of the card. This piece is cut to about 1.5 inches tall by about 10 inches wide. And to make the belly band, I actually don't pre-crease, pre-do anything. I just kind of wrap it around my card front. Well, around the entire card, I guess I should say. Meet the 2 pieces here in the middle, and then kind of smoosh it down here. I just want to make sure that there's room to wiggle it and go up and down with it, because you don't want the belly band to be super tight, and then it's difficult for whoever receives the card to get it on and off. All right, so there we go. Just wrap it right around and line up the 2 ends together here, and we're going to put a little Stampin' Seal on each of the ends of this piece of Designer Series paper. So I'm going to put some on this little tab as well as over here on this little part. And then I'm going to fold it together again. Make sure I'm lined up, and then just smush it down there. If you prefer Seal Plus, you can certainly use Seal Plus on it, or tear and tape adhesive. If you're really brave, you can put liquid glue on it, but I would have the card probably glued shut if I put liquid glue on it. We all know how much I dislike that stuff. So, all right, ahead of time, I did cut another piece. Again, this is also from that Lovely and Beautiful Designer Series paper pack. Let me show you the dies that I used. These are from the Beautifully Celebrated dies, and I used the 2nd smallest and the 3rd smallest of the dies, and I basically just laid them together like this on top of the Designer Series paper and ran it through the die cutting machine. The idea for this kind of the layered look came from a card that I saw in the catalog, and so that is where the idea came from. And like I said, I started out to make that card and then totally changed it. By the time I got done with it, it looked nothing like the sample card. So, all right, we're going to take a little Stampin' Seal, and we are going to adhere this layer to the belly band. And again, I'm being careful not to put adhesive all the way out to the edges because I don't want to glue my card shut. So I want to be careful where I put it and make sure that I end up with the paper stuck on the belly band and not stuck on the card front. So hopefully if I've done this right, and if I could get it on here straight, that would also be helpful. The nice thing is that these little notches here are pretty close to 1.5 inches apart. So if I can get those fairly lined up, which I seem to be struggling with right now. If I can get the little notches in here lined up, it should be straight this way. Yeah, straight this way. So, all right. Okay, so we got that stuck together with a little Stampin' Seal. Then I did have to use my least favorite adhesive to put this little band on. And I did find out that you have to be kind of careful and don't put very much glue on this because it kind of oozed out when I made my first card, and then I kind of had a gluey mess that I had to clean up. So I'm just putting a very little bit of liquid glue right around the edges of the original die cut, and then we're just going to layer this one right over the top of it and adhere it down with the liquid glue. All right, and I'm going to hold it for just a second since liquid glue sometimes will let things wiggle around a little too much. All right, we should be there, and I just keep checking it to make sure that I haven't glued it to the card front, which I haven't done so far. All right, next up, I've got a couple of little pieces. These are from the Beautifully Adorned Ephemera pack. And again, they are all part of that same product suite. Again, all available individually. If you don't want to buy the whole suite, you don't have to. But these are vellum, and they're really pretty. And it's a little thicker vellum than what the typical stuff is. You still can see adhesive when you put it on the back side of it, so you have to be a little careful about where you put the adhesive on these, but they're definitely much thicker than a standard piece of vellum is. Now I got to look through and find some little individual leaves here. Oh, I already picked those leaves out, so those are not the ones I want. So then we're going to take two of the little leaves here, and we're also going to stick those on the card front. All right, and I'm going to, actually I'll probably go ahead and do my stamping and sort of put the collage together before I start sticking things down, because about the time that I stick it down and I don't like it, then I'm going to be stuck with it where it is. All right, let me grab some stamps here. So hey, Michelle and Nancy, thanks for hopping in. Try to clean up this mess, and Debbie's here as well. I've got Old Olive ink. And I really should get this out of the way since I probably will end up making a mess with that. Old Olive ink, and we're going to stamp the flower image and the leaves, both in Old Olive. And I did do a couple of these ahead of time since it was just a repeat stamping and the same coloring that we're going to be doing on all of the images. I didn't want you to have to sit and watch me color 3 of them over and over and over again. So I just figured I'd do one of each so you could see how I colored it. And then we'll get busy making the rest of the card. All right, so we've got Old Olive Stampin' Blends, Darling Duckling, and Fresh Freesia for the colors that I used on these. I'm going to start with the Old Olive, and we're going to color the, oh, hey, no worries, Carol, thanks for hopping in. Glad you found us after all. So I'm going to use light Old Olive Stampin' Blends marker to color in the leaves on this one. So just trying to be a little careful and stay somewhat inside the lines, although it's all right if it goes out. So, all right, again, light Old Olive is what I'm putting the first layer of color on with. I'm starting to think I need to get the next level up of reading glasses because I'm struggling a little more to see the detailed stuff as I am getting a little older. So probably time to buy the next little pair of cheaters up in line. So, all right, and then I've got dark Old Olive, and I'm just kind of coming in and tracing over some of the little kind of veiny looking images here on the leaf. There we go. And I think we will call that good. And then I'm going to come back in with my light Old Olive and just going to do a once over on everything to blend it a little bit and to even out the color a little bit as well. Now, if you want to spend a lot more time blending and making your colors look really fantastic on it, you certainly can. But I generally tend to just make it quick and easy and until it looks good to me, and then I just stop coloring. So, all right, gonna color in this last little section of the leaf down here, and then we'll start working on the flower. All right, I've got light and dark Fresh Freesia. That's what we're gonna start with here. So hopefully this is the light. Yep, light Fresh Freesia. And we're gonna trace around the edges of the flower here with that. And hopefully it won't take me too long to color this one in. Once I get traced around the edges, I can usually fill in the center pretty fast, but I try to get the edges traced around so that somehow it magically keeps me inside the lines most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. All right, and then I'm just going to take the Fresh Freesia light marker and fill that whole flower in with color. And we are going to do a little blending on this one, but not a lot. But I'll show you how I did it. All right. Okay, so we got the first layer of color on. Then I'm going to come back in with the dark Fresh Freesia marker. And in my mind, these petals are kind of curled this way, if that makes sense. So I'm putting a shadow underneath here. I don't know if that is exactly the right way and the intention with the lines on those petals, but when I looked at them, I'm like, oh, it looks like the petals are curved inward. So I think I'll put a little bit of shadowing kind of underneath where it would be, where it would look like a shadow, I guess. Where if it was curled over, it'd look a little darker underneath. So again, then I'm going to come in here and just put a little bit of dark right around the edges there. And that's all I'm going to do for the dark shading on it. So, hey, Linda, thanks for joining. Glad you're here today. And then I'm going to take my light fresh freesia marker and just going to kind of scribble over the dark area and pull it a little bit into the lighter. And we are going to go over this one more time. So don't worry, the kind of harsh lines you're seeing now will disappear a little bit. So what I'm trying to do is just get the two blended a little bit together along the edges here without losing all of the dark blending that I've added. So there we go, just adding in a little layer of color like that. So that's kind of the second step of the blending. And then if you like the way it looks as it is, you certainly can stop coloring. If you want it to have a little more contrast, you can leave it as it is. I wanted mine to be a little more blended, so then I came back in and basically just kind of pulled the center, pulled over the center with the light marker. Again, didn't do a ton of blending or worrying about it, but just kind of pulled the color together a little bit, so it wasn't quite as sharp of a contrast. But again, it sort of depends on how you want it to look. So if you like a little more contrast in the blending, you could leave it alone, or you can do like I did and kind of pull the colors together, and then it gives you a little bit more muted shading, if that makes sense. All right. Last thing we're going to do is color in the center of the flower, and I used Darling Duckling. And the colors that I used in this did come from the Designer Series paper pack. So that was how I picked the colors that I used on it. Although technically the sheets that I used did not have any Darling Duckling on them. It was in the pack, so I figured it coordinated, so I went with it. So, all right. So I've got my flower and my leaf colored. And again, I've got a couple that I did ahead of time, so you don't have to watch me do this over and over again, but I've got those die cut. Let me grab the dies here. Try not to throw anything on the floor. And then this is the die from the Simply Beautiful. There's so many beautiful words in it, I'm getting the names of them mixed up. So Simply Beautiful is the name of the stamp set bundle that I used for the flowers. And then the Beautifully Celebrated is where the leaf came from. So that is where this one is. And then the final, actually, I did cut, again, ahead of time, 2 of these little branches with this die. So again, this came from the Beautifully Celebrated dies. And then I'm also going to cut, while I'm at it, going to cut my little sentiment die out because it's a photopolymer stamp set and I can see through it pretty easily. I'm just going to go ahead and cut this ahead of time and then stamp on the die cut image. So let me do the die cutting and I will be right back. All right. Let's see if I can get these all done in one swing. Hopefully I can. There we go. Let me put the dies back on my die sheets here so that I hopefully don't lose track of those. And then there's my little sentiment die. Get this mess out of the way. All right, then let's stamp the sentiment and we'll start sticking everything together. Oh, now I got dies everywhere too. Goodness. I got a mess going on. Okay, we're going to grab fresh freesia ink. And again, the sentiment is from the Lovely Arrangements stamp set, which is also one of the new online exclusives. So you can get that out in the online store. You're not going to see it in a catalog. I don't know why my lid is misbehaving, but it is. So again, fresh freesia is this ink. And I'm going to line this up and hopefully get this on here somewhat straight. If not, we can always cut another one. Reasonably straight. I think we're going to go with that one. All right. There we go. Get that out of the way, get this mess out of the way, and then bring the card back in here. So when I lay this out, I'm basically going to put my little white die cuts. Wanted one up here, one down here, and then I'm going to layer my leaves over the top of those. There's my other leaf. Gonna layer those together. And then we've got our vellum pieces. So we're gonna add in the little vellum leaves on either side. And then this piece, I actually snipped it in half when I put it on my card front. So I just kind of chopped it right down the center. Excuse me. Put a little bit down here and a little bit up here, and then layered my flowers and sentiment over the top of that. So let's start sticking. All right, I'm gonna grab some glue dots here and try not to cough my head off while I'm at it. And we'll start with those. I'm gonna start again by putting the white die cuts down first. So generally you wanna stick a glue dot on about there. And again, you know, you're gonna have the rest of it covered up, so it doesn't really matter that much where your glue dot lands. But you'll be layering flowers over the top of it, so you're good no matter where you stick it on there at. And this one I think we're gonna stick about there. Add that one on, again, about like that. Then I think we will put these on after I put the leaves on. So I'm gonna add a couple glue dots to the back of each leaf. And again, being a little careful not to put any glue dots out to the edges because it's going to overlap on the belly band, and you do not want to glue your leaves to the card front. At least I didn't want to, so I'm hopeful that I have, yep, still able to slide it. So I just want to keep checking that as I'm layering different pieces on, that I can still slide the belly band up and down, so I haven't glued my card shut, at least not yet. All right, and we're going to take this little leaf and we're going to stick it over the top of this one. Kind of like that. Again, just checking to make sure I haven't glued it down, which so far so good. Then we're going to take the little vellum leaves. We're going to tuck one of those in here underneath this set of leaves. Come on, get in there. Maybe we'll just go ahead and tuck it like that. Okay, that's better. Then do the other one and tuck it underneath the other little set of leaves over here. Again, about like that, kind of towards the center. And again, you can see the adhesive a little bit through the vellum, so just be a little careful about where you put the adhesive. You're going to want to make sure, if you're making the same card, going to want to make sure that you put the adhesive down kind of closer to the bottom of the leaf so that it's covered by some of your layers over the top of it. Then we are going to grab a couple little glue dots here, and again, I'm going to stick them on the very edges. And again, it doesn't matter if you can kind of see them through or they overlap stuff that you've got layered up here, because you're going to have it all covered with flowers anyway. So we're going to take that little half and layer it on there. And then you can take the other little half and layer it on the other side. And if you don't want to have to mess around with chopping this thing in half, you don't have to cut it in half. You can certainly use the full-size ones, but I was trying to be frugal. I don't want to say cheap, frugal, so that I had a few extra of those left. So again, you could take a whole one, stick it here, and a whole one, stick it here if you wanted to, but since it was kind of tucked underneath the flowers and the sentiment, I didn't figure anybody could see it very well anyway, so I just went with the chopped in half version. So, all right, a couple little glue dots, and we're going to tuck this flower up here near the top. And then we will take this one and layer it over the top of that one. This one and that one. This one, we're going to layer it over the top of the one that I've already adhered to the card front. I guess I should say that instead of this one and that one. So, all right, we'll take that one and layer it there. And again, one more stuck on here with some glue dots. And then we'll put the sentiment on. Okay, we'll kind of tuck that one in down here, like that. And then our sentiment is going to go right over here, which should cover up all the yucky looking adhesive that I have kind of stuck all over the card front. And I may actually pull this one up and move it up just a hair so that a little bit more of the flower shows, because I had it down a little bit too low, I think, based on where my sentiment's going to land. Yep, I think I like that one better. I want to be able to see a little bit of the flower center on that one. Then we're going to grab some Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm actually going to stick those directly to the card front here in the center between all these flower layers on here. And I can always tuck some dimensionals underneath the edges if I feel like I need it. But I was trying to avoid, because the flowers, by the time you layer everything up, it almost adds like a layer of dimensionals to the card front anyway. So you just want to make sure that you don't end up with it being too thick somewhere and kind of layered on there a little strangely. All right, so let me make sure that I don't have any glue dots or any adhesive showing, which it looks like I don't, and I'll smush that down. And then I think I am going to take a couple of dimensionals and kind of tuck them up underneath the edges, or maybe glue dot. Maybe I'll glue dot it. That will probably be better. So I'm going to take a glue dot and stick that up here underneath where the flower layering is at, so to hold it a little more securely to the card front. And I'll do the same thing, only in the opposite side over here. So we're going to take a little glue dot, stick it to the back of the sentiment. Make sure I roll it up under there so it's not showing. And there we go. So, all right, almost done with the card front. Just have to add a couple of embellishments and we'll be good to go. So I'm glad y'all are liking the card, so I appreciate that. All right, the embellishments, again, are also part of the same suite, but again, you don't have to buy them together if you don't want to. These are called pearlized faceted circles. And I'm trying to remember what the colors are on there. Calypso Coral, Petal Pink, and White. The ones I think I used are the white ones. It's this one. So I think that's the white and the Petal Pink, and that's Calypso Coral, at least from what I can see. Although it's a little hard to distinguish between the two of those. This one to me has a little more pink in it, so I think that's why that's the Petal Pink, and I think that one's white, but you can certainly use them interchangeably, in my mind anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and stick on a couple of the little pearlized faceted circles. So I've got a littler one and a bigger one that we're going to adhere on up here. And then I think we'll go with a littler one. Put that one down here. And that is going to be it for the card. So super quick and easy. Like I said, gatefolds are way easy. All you have to do is get that belly band done and wrapped around it. And you don't even have to do a belly band on them, but it does help them to stay closed if you do. So quick and easy, got your little belly band, and then you open it up to the center, and you can write your sentiment in there, or like I said, you can stamp a sentiment in there if you would prefer. But yeah, so that is it for today. Again, this is the Beautifully Celebrated stamp set bundle, the Simply Beautiful stamp set bundle, and the Lovely Arrangements stamp set. So I used lots of different things on it that I used to create my card today. So again, lots of floral pieces, pretty papers. Again, all available to order now from Stampin' Up. Let me know if you have any questions on anything. I'll be posting all the details for this card on my blog tomorrow, which is stampwithamyk.com. And I'll have a PDF tutorial there that'll have all the details, all of the cardstock cuts, measurements, all that good stuff on the blog tomorrow. And I'll link directly to it in the description of this video once the post goes live around 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern time on Saturday. So thanks again, everybody, for being here. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I will plan to see you around 2 o'clock Eastern time next week, Tuesday, and then again around 2 o'clock Eastern time next week, Friday. So till then, have a great weekend, have a great week, and we will chat with you all soon.